Sports Talk. Let's go.
What's up? Good morning, everybody. How you guys doing? It's me, your boy Ryan Flowers, aka Clutch Sports Talk, and welcome back to another episode or edition of NFL Sunday Wake Up with me. I was off last week, had to take care of some things with the family, so I was not able to do a show, but I am back, and I am glad I'm back this week. We have another great week of NFL football. We are heading into week 9, and things are picking up. Things are getting serious, and as usual on today's show, we got lots to talk about. First off, I want to talk about the quarterback play here recently in the National Football League. There's been a lot of talk about the performance of quarterbacks, and it hasn't really been great. So I'll break that down, let you guys know my thoughts on that. Is it actually the quarterback play or some other mitigating factors out there that's prohibited, that's actually contributing to some of the play that we're seeing on the field? Also, I want to talk about my MVP contenders. They're all quarterbacks. Now, there are some honorable mention guys, but majority of these guys are going to be quarterbacks, which they rightfully so, right? And then I'm going to go into my week 9 power rankings and then my predictions for all of the games, excluding the Thursday night matchup because that took place already. And then we'll wrap up the show with my clutch picks of the week. So if you like football and you want to hear some people talk and break down some things, you are in the right shop, my friend. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. This is NFL Sunday Wake Up with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go. Good morning once again, and welcome to the episode. If this is your first time watching, welcome. I appreciate you guys for stopping by. Make sure if you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube channel, you guys see the social media stuff down below. So make sure you guys do that and head on over to the Grid Network as well, where you can watch my Grid exclusive show, NFL Matchups, which drops basically Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. I'm still figuring that out, but it's available for you guys there on the Grid Network on YouTube. But you can't watch it unless you go to the Grid Network YouTube channel after this episode is done here. So, all right, with that said, man, welcome in. Before we get moving again, we got some comments here. We got my guy Patrick Brown doing his thing. He says, happy NFL Sunday Wake Up, supporting my favorite pregame show. Hope all is safe safe and well, excuse me, Coach Clutch. Appreciate you, my guy. There you go. He fixed that there. And then he says, great day for some barbecue and football. Enjoy the fall weather and get plenty of sunshine. Absolutely, man. And we just rolled the clocks back last night. So it's fall. It's fall, and fall means football. And it means contending football. You got college heating up right now. And then we got the NFL here week 9. So things are making some sense here. And we also got my guy, Ben, Bucks fan. He says, good morning, sir. Appreciate him. Make sure you guys check these guys out. I know Ben is on Facebook as well. Ben, if you want to drop your social media platform here in the comments, I'll push that through. And then check out Patrick Brown over on the Grid Network website, which you can get to from the Grid Network Instagram. Or if you want to go to my page, you can hit my bio. It'll take you there too as well. So shout out to him. He writes phenomenal articles on some groundbreaking NFL material or just sports in general. So make sure you guys check those guys out, because you know what? Content creation is not easy. It's a grind, and I support anyone that's willing to put themselves out there. So shout out to those guys as well. All right, moving forward. There we go. He got Ben. He says YouTube channel. There you go, right there. Ben Cornett 9015. And I guess the TY is thank you. So minus the TY. So make sure you guys check him out. So as well. And he's doing his picks too. He's got some picks. I forgot what he calls his. I think Ben's picks of the week or something like that. So make sure you check that out as well. That's on Facebook, I've seen. So support that gentleman. All right. Let's talk about some quarterback play in the National Football League. And there is a lot of discussion about the significant decrease or fluctuation of quarterback performance in the National Football League, right? And is it unprecedented? I don't know. We'll see. But there are a couple factors that I believe that what we're seeing, it's not all on the quarterbacks. There are some things. Obviously, number one, the turnover in the position. Number one, like we're seeing quarterbacks getting benched left and right, more so than I've ever seen in my whole career of watching football, right? Just off the top of my head, you got Bryce Young got replaced this year already, and then now he's back. Anthony Richardson got replaced this week, obviously. Will Levis, who else? The Raiders quarterback. So there is a slew of guys. Now, granted, these guys are not top tier guys, but still, these guys are starting quarterbacks or have been chosen to be starting quarterbacks in the National Football League, and they're getting benched. Daniel Jones got pulled out of a game recently, right? And he's probably the next guy that's going to get pulled So, and I'll get to that. I'll get to that in just a second. Why I think that happens. The other thing is the statistics have shown a drop off in regards to the average pass completion. And I'm reading my notes here off the top of my head. I think like we're in 2023. We are 51% pass completion. When if you go back a little further in 2019, passing completion rates were up at 55%. And if right now, at the top of my head, I don't know what the passing completion is for this year going forward, but it seems like the trend is going down. Completion rates overall have been decreasing since 2019, and we can see that. Then we're looking at passing yards per attempt. They're down 0.4% since last year as well. And just in general, quarterbacks that are throwing double-digit interceptions within a game have increased. Now, what does that mean? That can be attributed to, honestly, one thing is that the game itself, the NFL or football, and you can see that even from the youth ranks, which I have some kind of expertise in, is that the running game is there, but things like 7-on-7 passing leagues, wherever you want to call it in the city that you live in, throwing the football is precedent, right? And so now you're seeing teams that are just throwing the football way more, a lot more. Another thing is too, you got a lot of guys that are athletes playing the quarterback position. Now, some of you may argue with me and disagree, which, well, what about Lamar Jackson? Right. I mean, listen, there are outliers, folks. When I say certain things, I'm not saying that it can't happen or it's impossible. It's just improbable. But majority of the guys that we are seeing are mostly athletes. Case in point, Anthony Richardson, phenomenal athlete, shitty quarterback. Okay. So those are some things. I think another thing too, defenses are getting a little bit more exotic, a little bit more unique, given the exception that corners can't play physical anymore, right? The way they used to back in the day, maybe 10, 15 years ago, right? Because they'll throw the flag, right? Because they don't want to see flags on the field. They want to see the ball in the air, touchdown scoring. That's what they want to see, right? So defenses have become a little bit more unique and they've adjusted to some of these things, right? Guys can't even tackle guys certain ways, right? So the defenses have to be a little bit more smart about how they do things. And then I think, honestly, the departure of the traditional quarterback, guys like Tom Brady who retired, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, guys that'll stand in there in the pocket and deliver the ball. We're not seeing that, right? We're seeing more mobile quarterbacks, guys that are getting out, trying to run. Like I said before, they're better athletes than they are quarterbacks. So and I think that's the future of the quarterback game. So I think guys like that retiring, that may have, I would say, significantly dipped into the stats, but it's definitely worth considering the fact that, like I said before, a lot of these guys, the modern quarterback today, aren't traditional throwers of the ball. It's just what it is. I mean, unfortunately. So, and then you have more rookies coming in and playing earlier, right? And this is my point with like Bryce Young, even Anthony Richardson, guys like that, especially Anthony Richardson. People looked at him, thought he had a skill set, but the Indianapolis Colts said, you know what? We need a savior right now. We've been able to draft quarterbacks in the past, a la Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck. They got lucky, with those two franchise-type quarterbacks, and they thought they could do the same. And I think the reason why they took Anthony Richardson was that they didn't want to feel like they missed out on somebody, like how the Bears missed out on Patrick Mahomes back in the day, right? And they took, I forgot the guy's name, from UNC, I forgot his name. But anyway, right? So the teams are taking chances on guys and not really understanding that maybe they really can't play the position. And when they do bring him in, they throw him on a team that really isn't set up to win. And you're expecting a young guy to come in there, take over, learn the NFL, Mitchell Trubisky, thanks, Ben, and win football games for you. So I think, listen, I am from the school of thought that you got to play the young guys. That's just my thing. And I get it, though. I see the flip side of it. The way these guys have the resources to prepare better than any other generation of quarterbacks, right? They have everything afforded to them versus guys that played 20 years ago. Okay, yeah, even when I was playing back in the early 2000s, right? They didn't have some of the things that we have today. Quarterback coaches, all these quarterback camps, technology, nutrition, strength and conditioning. It's all different, right? These guys are playing big-time college games. Now they're getting paid with NIL, right? So they should be used to getting paid, having that paid aspect like a professional, right? And then they come to the league and they suck. And so if I'm a GM, I'm taking a quarterback, and if he doesn't work out, I'm going back until I find another quarterback, and then that's what it's going to be. I'm not gonna hang on to some of these guys. So, but honestly, too, at the end of the day, and this is the flip side to this, I say that to say this, although I don't agree with like letting a guy sit, you have to, as an organization, especially as a GM, you have to know that your team is in a good position to it and you have good coaching, because I feel like there's a lot of bad coaching right now in the National Football League, and that kind of helps with the decrease in the production of quarterback play, where you look at guys and you're like, wow, like what happened here? Like Sam Darnold, for instance, right? Went to New York Jets, top high pick, sucked. Just, but was it really him? Goes to Carolina, didn't really do well there. Goes to San Francisco, sits behind Brock Purdy, learns under Kyle Shanahan, goes to Minnesota, and they're off to the start that they had this year, right? So I'm not saying he's going to be a Hall of Famer, but Sam Darnold is talented, right? But he went to the wrong situation. So there's a lot of things that I feel like that contribute to the decline in quarterback play. I think organizations overall have to be better. Coaching has to be better. The scouting has to be better. Like for all intents and purposes, Anthony Richardson should have never been drafted where he was drafted at. But like I said before, the Colts were afraid that they were missing out on some type of iconic player. And what they're learning is that he ain't shit. I mean, as simple as that. So injuries, I think, play a part. You know, guys are running out the pocket, getting hurt. Again, Anthony Richardson, Lamar Jackson had a couple cases of injuries a couple years ago. We saw what happened to Deshaun Watson earlier, or just a couple weeks ago. So injuries, I feel like, have played a part too. But overall, like even Patrick Mahomes, who we all agree or can consider one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history, look at the year he's having right now, right? Not playing well at all, right? And they're 7-0 still. So, quarterback play to me personally has dipped. It has dipped. We're not seeing, and I guess I'm more of an old school guy. I'm not a big fan of the running quarterback per se, like a Lamar Jackson. Is he good? He's good. I'm not saying he's not good, but he's not my cup of tea at the end of the day. So where does that leave us now? I think it's only going to get worse until coaching gets better. And I don't know if that's going to happen, where these guys can't even take snaps under the center anymore. That's where we are, where most teams are in the shotgun. Like that's just crazy to me, where kids today don't even know how to take snaps. You ask a kid, when was the last time you took a snap? Probably when I was 7 years old. That's crazy. And you're dealing with high schoolers. So we'll see the state of affairs. Is it all bad? No, there are some really good players out there. But overall, when you look at the position in totality, I think there is something to say about some of the bad play and a lot of the carousels, quarterbacks that we've seen here in the National Football League within the last 2 years or so. So those are just my thoughts on it. I think it'll be an ongoing situation that we're going to have to kind of closely watch. But there are guys out there that can play. And I'll leave it at that. All right. We got some comments here real quick. Let's see. Patrick says the QB play has declined with young guys. It depends on the current situation, who they get selected by. If there's no winning mentality, it can be troublesome early on. Yep, I agree. Ben says, I was never too high on Bryce Young. That Carolina team has very little talent offensively to begin with. Didn't help. He was put in. Yep, exactly. Like organizational structure. Like they expected him to be a savior, and he really isn't that guy. Bryce Young's height was a major concern. Small quarterbacks don't last very long. They don't, and that's a good point. Well, Drew Brees did. Well, Drew Brees again is an outlier, folks. He's an outlier. There are guys that can do it, but traditionally, statistically, they don't last. Anthony Richardson. His career his career does feel like it's over. 10 college starts, and the Colts have to evaluate future moving forward. Andrew Luck type vibes, right? Yeah, 10 starts in college, and they drafted this guy where they drafted him. And I tried to get on the Anthony Richardson bandwagon. I just at the end I just couldn't do it. And then what he said last week after that game was pretty damn bad, I will say. All right, moving right along, man. We got our MVP candidates. They're all quarterbacks. Let me know in the comments. I know there probably might be some other guys like there, like Derrick Henry, stuff like that. But let's be real. This is not an award for any other player other than quarterbacks. It's the same reason why Heisman's are always given out to quarterbacks. So, and right now, no particular order. I'm just going to list some guys. Let me know what you guys think. These guys are, in my opinion, are receiving some nods for the MVP vote. So I'm going to start with Buffalo. Josh Allen right now playing really well. They added Amari Cooper. Total passing yards right now, he's over 1,700 yards. Playing really good. 57% completion rate, right? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And like I said, he's only played with Amari Cooper 2 games. He's doing this with the guys with a band of guys that really no one really knows. Well, I mean, I guess we know Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman, but very young guys that haven't really made a name for themselves in the National Football League. So definitely, and he's got this team lined up to win the AFC East. What's their record? I believe they're 5-3, 6-3, something like that. So shout out to him. I think he's definitely an NFL MVP candidate. Lamar Jackson's got to be in there, right? He's the reigning NFL MVP, rightfully so. Still putting up tremendous numbers. I believe he leads or he's in second for touchdowns scored by a quarterback. Let me know. You guys can stat check me if you want to. I'm just kind of spitballing off the top of my head, but I think I read that somewhere. And the ground game. I mean, him and Derrick Henry together are a force. Now, it didn't look great last week. Obviously, they lost to Cleveland Browns, but I mean, listen, it's the NFL. Teams are going to get beat. You're not gonna go undefeated like that. That's only been done once. The 72 Dolphins, right? So it's a reason why it hasn't happened. These guys are professionals, but Lamar Jackson and his team definitely gets my vote. Right now, if I had to rank him, it's between him and maybe Josh Allen for me, and maybe Jayden Daniels is starting to creep in there, which he's my next guy I want to talk about. I had a guy in my comment section a couple weeks ago when I asked, should Jayden Daniels be an MVP candidate, and I don't know if this guy didn't know what the word hyperbole meant. I know what it means, but I wasn't just saying it because I wanted to get clicks. I was saying it at the time because the guy was legitimately putting up numbers that we haven't really seen a lot from young quarterbacks, mind you, quarterbacks that have been in the league for a while right now. So right now they're atop of NFC East. Now Philadelphia is kind of gaining some ground. They kind of got away with the lucky one last week, that Hail Mary to beat the Bears, but nonetheless, Jayden Daniels is still playing phenomenal. Here's some stats. He's 71% when he's blitzed, pass completion. Wow, that's crazy. 71%. So if you blitz him, he's going to make you pay. And for young quarterbacks, young defensive coordinators, they look at young quarterbacks, we're going to blitz the hell out of them. Okay, do so with this guy, and you'll see what happens. You'll get burnt. His athleticism, another athletic guy, right? But he does want to throw the ball down the field. I don't think he wants to run all the time. He's looking down the field to make a play, which I can live with that, right? But back to the guy who was in my comments, I was like, it's hard sometimes to talk to football people or people that watch football or comment on your stuff who don't even really watch football or have a clue or an idea of what's really happening. They maybe get some of their information from ESPN and they run with that. Or they hear somebody talking about it around the water cooler, and then they want to come and comment on your page, and then they don't even know what the hell they're talking about. Jayden Daniels is an MVP candidate. Now, is he going to win it? No, I'm not saying he's winning it. He's a candidate, meaning he's up for nomination, folks. And if you let me know if you guys agree. Am I wrong? Is Jayden Daniels not an MVP candidate? Because to me, I feel like he is. So I'll leave it at that. And then Kyler Murray. I was deliberating, I was thinking, and I was like, you know what? Kyler Murray, man. And I guess we still got a lot of ways to go in the season, but he's got his team at 500, right? They got some pretty nice wins on the road, right? And they're battling. They're right there battling for the NFC West, right? And he is one of those players that now we may question his commitment to the game per se, right? Because he's a big time gamer, loves Call of Duty. He's not very apologetic about what he likes and what he says, right? Honestly. But when you watch the guy, man, he's doing all he can to win football games for his team. And you got to appreciate that. Just his last 2 games alone, 65% completion rate, 452 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. That's in the last 2 games. And they're 4-4 right now, battling in the NFC West, which, it is what it is. Maybe not a great division this year, but still battling. So shout out to him. Listen, this award is an MVP award for quarterbacks at the end of the day. Now, Derrick Henry, I said I'll throw him in there. Who else is? I'm trying to think. I thought Nico Collins was having a good year, right, until he got hurt. Who else is another honorable mention type of guy? Derrick Henry, Nico Collins. Defensively, there really isn't any. I mean, you could always kind of throw TJ Watt in there, but I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. outside of these quarterbacks that can get this or be nominated for this award. So let me know in the comment section what you guys think, because I just can't, I don't see it right now. So all right, moving along here on this show, let's get to the power rankings here. My week 9 power rankings, and we're going to start off with the Detroit Lions. Listen, good impressive wins. They got a big one today, I believe, against the is it the Packers? Is it the Packers they're playing today? Which we'll get to here in just a moment. So they're playing good. Even without Aiden Hutchinson, they're still figuring out ways to generate a pass rush. So shout out to them. Number 2, I got the Kansas City Chiefs. I guess they kind of got demoted because their wins really haven't been like the Lions are dominating, folks. The Chiefs really not. They're kind of getting by, which is a recipe for disaster at some point because you can't always win close games. At some point, you're going to have to go out and put together a full complementary game, offense, defense, special teams, and they haven't really quite done that yet. So I dropped them down just a little bit. Now their defense is still excellent. I still think they'll be in games, especially if they had to play a Lions or somebody in a neutral site, say like a Super Bowl. But right now I have them at number 2. At number 3, I got the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen is definitely one of those guys that is one of my MVP candidates for sure. And he's carrying this team. And I said the addition of Amari Cooper is only going to help this team. To me, the Buffalo Bills are not a sexy pick, but they're like one of those mature adult teams, right? They're kind of like when you're an adult, you want to, you got 2 options. You can go out, hit the strip. I live in Vegas, right? And you could do that. Or you can go home, get a nice glass of wine and sit down and watch a movie. Right, which is probably a little bit doesn't sound as fun, but to me that's what the Buffalo Bills are, if that makes sense. But I got them at number 3, and then I got the Baltimore Ravens coming in at number 4. A little misstep last week against the Cleveland Browns, who are really in a great football team, but I get it. It's the AFC North; those things happen from time to time. Their secondary is what's concerning me. I think teams can take advantage of that, and the Browns did. Obviously, Jameis Winston literally off the bench came in and threw over 340 something yards and 3 touchdowns, right? So, but offensively, Lamar and Derek is going to give you what you need, right, to stay in those games. So, but they're still a very viable team. So I got them at number 4. Minnesota Vikings, 2 back-to-back losses. Hopefully they're trying to get back on pace today. Lost to the Lions one week and then they lose on the road. I believe it was a Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football. I forgot what it was, to the Rams. Not a good look for them. Defense is starting to taper off just a little bit. Maybe not getting as much pressure as they once were. Maybe some teams are figuring them out, but still a good football team nonetheless. Maybe there's a move for them to make here. I believe they did make a move for an offensive tackle, if I'm not mistaken. So, but maybe there's another move they want to make out there to maybe add some more explosiveness to their offense. But still a good team. And then I got the Green Bay Packers at number 6. Jordan Love. Injury. I believe he kind of tweaked something the other week. Malik Willis had to kind of step in for a little brief moment there off the bench. But this defense continues to force turnovers, which is something it's really good, right? The more opportunities you can get your offense on the field, the better. And the Green Bay Packers are one of the best to do that in the National Football League for sure. So still a good football team. And Jordan Love, if and when healthy, is phenomenal. Really good player. And I got the Washington Commanders coming in at number 7. They got a rookie quarterback leading the way. So, and their defense has been solid. It's not like, oh my God, like they're great, but solid defense led with a really good potent offense. You can do some things here in the National Football League. Now, how far will that take them? We'll have to wait and see what happens with that, but definitely a good team sitting at 6-2. And I got the Pittsburgh Steelers also at 6-2. Offensively, they struggled earlier because Justin Fields just isn't the quite quarterback as Russell Wilson is. Russell Wilson is started the last 2 weeks. He's 2-0. Wins against the Jets. I forgot who they played last week, but they got a win there too. So, but their defense is led by guys like TJ Watt, Beanie Bishop, who have become a big time plays and big time spots. So, and like I said, George Pickens and Russell Wilson, that's going to be a matchup or a combination that you're going to see continue to grow as the season progresses. And then I got the Philadelphia Eagles coming in at number 9. They're coming up, man. They're 5-2. Still a little turmoil, dysfunction there, but if they can just continue to feed Saquon Barkley the ball, Jalen Hurts limit his turnovers, They got weapons. But and their defense, if their defense can continue to play but mistake-free football, it's definitely worth a shot for them. So they're rising up, and I mean they're right there lockstep behind the Commanders in the NFC East. So which they got a couple matchups here down the line. So, and then finally rounding out my top 10, I got the Houston Texans. They've fallen off, man. I picked them to win last week or this week against the Jets. It didn't happen. It was a stretch. I mean, no Nico Collins, no Stephon Diggs rest of the year. He's having to rely on Tank Dell, who I like, but he's not a 1A type of receiver, right? Dalton Schultz is okay. I mean, they're really going to have to rely on Joe Mixon, right? And teams are going to load the box. I think C.J. Stroud is still a good quarterback, but like any other good quarterback, they need some help, right? And I think until Nico Collins gets back in the lineup, they're going to kind of float. Again, granted, they're only 6-2, right? So the sky isn't falling, or 6-3, whatever. I think 6-3 now, right? Sky isn't falling, but they need guys to get healthy. I think Will Anderson hurt himself a little bit too the other night. But if they can get healthy, this team can still make a run, be one of the better teams in the AFC. But there you have it. Those are my top 10, my week 9 power rankings of week 9. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Actually, we do got a couple comments here, so let's take a look at them real fast. Let's see here. Ben says, he's talking about Trayvon Diggs. He says Schefter reported that Trayvon Diggs will play today against Atlanta. I don't even care about the Cowboys anymore. They suck. Patrick says, it's crazy to think free agents want to sign with Washington. What a year makes after Magic Johnson's a minority owner. They've got their franchise quarterback. As a Cowboys fan, it pains me. Yeah. Listen, organizational skills is the thing. The Cowboys don't have it. They just don't. Jerry Jones is senile, so anyway, that's a whole. I could talk about that for hours. Patrick says, "Would you put Jared Goff in the MVP?" I thought about him. I thought about Jared Goff, and I know he's listed here in my pictures. I honestly forgot about it. I should have put him in there. I really should have put him in there. He should be. He'd probably be one of the. He's playing really good football, man. He ain't turning the ball over. Very efficient. So my bad, Detroit Lion fans. I should have put him on my list. I forgot when I was doing my notes. I literally got sidetracked and I forgot to put him on there. But Patrick, thanks for pointing that out. I would definitely put him on there. Actually, I put him in the picture up here, but I didn't put him on my list. So my bad. But Jared Goff is definitely playing really good football for his team. And it is what matter of fact, I do have him in my notes here. I'm so bad. I'm trying to focus on this and run on my notes. I'm looking at his stats here. Honestly, they're leading the league in scoring, 33 points a game, right? That's attributed to him. Highest completion percentage, 83%, right? And pass rating of 146.5 over a 5-game span. So yeah, absolutely, I would put Jared Goff in there. So thanks for bringing that up. I totally forgot. I totally got lost track there. So definitely I would put him in there. Patrick, we clowned Dan Campbell for a kneecap press conference. He's built a winning culture and players will run through a wall for him. Kudos, GM Brad Holmes. You know what? You're right. That's a good point. I think he kind of came in kind of foolish, right? The only thing with him that I still temper my expectations on is that when it gets to like late game situations, especially in big time games, will he make the right decision? And so we saw what happened in the conference championship game last year. If given that situation again, will he make the right decision, or will he just say F it and just go for it, do what he needs to do? Sometimes taking that risk when you don't really need to. That's my only pause for concern for him. But definitely proving himself worthy of one of the better coaches in the National Football League for sure. He may not know it all, but he's putting guys in positions that do know well. He's delegating, and that's good too. That's also another key component of being a good coach as well. So, all right, moving along here, let's take a look at some games this week. My preview and predictions here on NFL Sunday Wake Up with me, Clutch Sports Talk. Obviously, Thursday night, that game's over. Jets won that one decisively towards the end. It was close. but they put it away and they got the win over the injured plagued Houston Texans. But hey, now the Jets are going to win the Super Bowl now, right? That's what people are thinking. Let's take a look at the Baltimore Ravens on the road. At home, taking on the Denver Broncos. Now, everyone is like, oh, Denver Broncos, man, they're doing their thing. But if you really look at their schedule, and this is not a shot at them, they ain't really beat anybody yet, honestly, if I'm being frank with you guys, where the Ravens have beaten some pretty solid teams, I would say, playoff, at least former playoff teams, Tampa Bay, Buffalo, right off the top of my head. Right now, they did that stinker last week, but they're at home. Denver's offense led by Bo Nix. He's played well in the last couple of weeks. Will he have some opportunities in the passing game? Yeah, he will, because like I said before, the Baltimore Ravens secondary is not really good right now. They're not playing well right now. Denver's defense is really good, one of the elite defenses in the National Football League, but they're playing against really two elite runners in Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. So I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens in this game. I think coming off of that loss last week really left a bad taste in their mouth, so I'm going to go with them. Moving along here, we're going to go Saints at Carolina. Carolina, Bryce Young back in the lineup again. I'm not saying that's great news, but the Saints should win this game. I'm not. The Panthers are hopeless at this point. They're a bad football team. So the Saints not much better at this point either. But Derek Carr, I think, is back, expected to play. So that should kind of give them a boost on the road in a divisional matchup if they kind of want to stay alive here a little bit. And I say that loosely, but I like the Saints to win this game. Let's bounce around. Let's see here. We got the Chargers and the Browns. Interesting matchup here. Good defense versus Jameis Winston. They are at home. They're coming off a really good win against the Baltimore Ravens last week. Chargers, to me, this one's going to be a tight one. I will say I'm going to go with the Chargers in an upset here over the Browns. I think it's an upset, I would say, over the Browns at home. I think in the end, Justin Herbert's going to make a player here or there, and Jameis Winston's going to make a boneheaded play. I will say this: the Chargers defense will be a lot better than the Ravens defense was last week, at least in the secondary, at least from my concern. So I'm going to go with the Chargers there. Let's bounce back up to the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Atlanta Falcons. To me, this is a no-brainer. The key to this game is, can the Cowboys stop the run game? And the answer to that is no. They haven't stopped the run game in the last 5 seasons, at least from my recollection. And Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier is going to come in here and do their thing. So to me, this is a no-brainer. Now, it could be a high-scoring affair, which I doubt. But if anyone's going to do the scoring, it's going to be the Falcons, because the Cowboys' defense is just atrocious. Now, the Cowboys may come out and put up a good fight early on, but in the end, they just don't have enough, man. Deion Green says that they did beat the Bucs as well. Yeah, I'll give you that. That was a good win a couple weeks ago on the road, if I'm not mistaken. So, but it's not that I don't like Denver, but I got to see a little bit more from them, right? You come out and win this game, then I might say, you know what, man, like they're legit. And I'm not saying they're not legit now, but they need a little bit more. They need a little bit more on the resume there for me, for now, right? So, but you win a game like that today against the Ravens, for sure. All right, we got the Miami Dolphins taking on the Bills in New York, Orchard Park, Buffalo, New York, actually. I know Tua's back, but the last time we saw Tua play the Bills, it did not end well for him. Hoping he doesn't get hurt again today, but the Bills just have their number. And I think they'll continue to have their number. So I like the Bills in this matchup, although I think they might be able to put some points in the game. I don't know what the temperature will be in this game, but if it's cold, you can't count on Tua and the Dolphins to perform at all in the cold weather. So I like the Bills in this matchup. You got the Raiders taking on the Bengals. This one's a fun matchup, I think. Bengals defense struggling a little bit there. Raiders struggling as well. I think Gardner Minshew is the quarterback today. I would not be surprised if Desmond Ridder gets a start, or not a start, but plays. Desmond Ridder, they just signed off the practice squad for the Arizona Cardinals, I believe, last week. He did go in for a snap last week, just something with Gardner Minshew. But the quarterback situation in Las Vegas is just negligent what they did. So I do like the Bengals to win overall. I just think they have better talent. I think they're better coached. Now, are they just that overwhelmingly better? I would say so. But I like the Bengals in that matchup there. We got the Washington Commanders on the road taking on the Giants. When they last played earlier in the year, it was a close matchup. I believe this is the game where the Commanders didn't even score a touchdown. Their kicker had like a gazillion kicks and they end up winning the game. I don't think that'll be the case this week. I think the Commanders are a team. I think they're going to go on the road and get a divisional win to try to stay atop there in the NFC East. And Daniel Jones just isn't a good quarterback. So I like the Commanders in this matchup. All right, bouncing back onto the left side, let's look at the Patriots and the Tennessee Titans. Drake May will get the start. He has clear concussion protocol. He will go on the road to take on the Tennessee Titans. I do like Drake May. He's shown me a couple things, but they just aren't a really good team, and they just can't protect him at the end of the day. Now, the Titans aren't a great football team. They just traded away DeAndre Hopkins last week. I think Mason Rudolph is getting the start, which is a good thing for them because Will Levis is just shit, right? He couldn't get the ball to Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins. Come on, bro. Like, I could have probably done better than him. But Mason Rudolph, is he going to go out there and just win you 5, 6, 7 games? Absolutely not. But he's definitely better than Will Levis. So I like the Titans in this one at home to get the win. Now, and probably one of the more exciting games, the Bears taking on the Cardinals in Glendale, Arizona today. Bears coming off of that heartbreaker last week to Washington. Get some water here. To Washington on that Hail Mary. Cardinals are battling, right? Kyler Murray is one of my MVP candidates for sure. I like the Bears on the road in this one. I think their defense will make a play here or there. Their defense is good. It's one of the top defenses in the National Football League, if I'm not mistaken. Offensively, they're starting to kind of get things together. They had a little bit of setback last week, but I think they'll get right a little bit here. As long as they continue to run the ball and play mistake-free football, they should win this win. I think this is going to be a fun game to watch. So I'm going to take the Bears in this one. Let's take a look at Jacksonville and Philadelphia. Jacksonville, I don't even know what to say about that. Trevor Lawrence starting to play a little bit better, but I don't know if it's going to be good enough. This is one of those games Philly needs to just go out here and win this game. Now, traditionally, they have kind of struggled with Jacksonville the last couple seasons. If I'm not mistaken, the last couple times they played, they've been able to pull out the win. But I feel like if Philly wants to say, you know what, we are a team. We want to be considered one of the better teams in the NFL or NFC. This is a game you just got to put to bed early and win this game. So I'm going to go with Philadelphia to win this game outright and decisively. And then I got the big matchup of the day, NFC North Division title. I'm not going to say title on the line, but a game worth noting. Detroit Lions on the road in Lambeau Field to take on the Green Bay Packers. Last time we saw the Lions, they were beating the shit out of the Tennessee Titans. I did not mince my words with that. They were literally killing those fools. Feels like 52 points they hung on those guys. So this is a big matchup for Green Bay as well. You're at home. The last big matchup they've had against another divisional rival did not end well for them. They start games a little bit slow for me to my liking, but the Lions are legitimate. They are legitimate. So I'm going to take the Lions in this one just because I feel like they're just more consistent with their gameplay. So I like the Lions over the Packers. Now we got the Rams traveling to the Pacific Northwest to take on the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle, I don't know, man. They're a solid team, but they just don't got it. I think the Rams are getting healthy. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp back. Matthew Stafford looking good, coming off a big win over the Minnesota Vikings last time we saw them. I like the Rams here, man, in this one. I think the Rams think we can compete for the NFC West too. Don't count us out. The NFC West is a traffic jam at this point. You got all those teams are vying for it. You got the Rams, even the Seahawks, even them losing can still have an opportunity. The 49ers and the Cardinals. But I like the Rams in this matchup there. And then for Sunday Night Football, you got the Joe Flacco at the helm taking on the Minnesota Vikings for Sunday Night Football. This is a game that the Vikings must win. This is a must win, right? They can't afford to drop a third game in a row. They need to win this game. I get it. Joe Flacco is better than Anthony Richardson at this point. He will pose a threat, but the Minnesota Vikings should be able to handle him and get the win. So I'm taking the Vikings here. And then finally, Monday Night Football, Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. I would say the Kansas City Chiefs will just roll with this one, but I don't know, man. Like they haven't played well overall. Now they've been finding ways to win. This one they should win. Obviously, the Buccaneers are still without Mike Evans. Chris Godwin is out for the year. We did get a sighting from Rachaad White last week, playing really well. Baker Mayfield's still a pretty good quarterback, but I can't go against the Chiefs, man, especially at home. If they were on the road, I might be more inclined to say, yeah, they might lose, but at home, it's going to be a tight game. I think it's going to come down to the last play, maybe a Harrison Butker kick to win the game or a Patrick Mahomes magical moment there. But I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs to win that game. Right. So there you have it. Those are my preview and predictions for this week. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. All right, before we get out of here, here's my clutch picks for Week 9 in the National Football League. Houston Texans failed me already, but I still got the Bears and the Bills and the Rams to round out. So hopefully I can go 3-1 this week. So we got some comments before we get out of here. Here we got Patrick says the NFC West will get tighter. Rams, to me, are the most consistent team, health, great coaching, and will compete. Oh, absolutely. As far as coaching is concerned, Sean McVay is probably between him and Kyle Shanahan, and that's debatable at some point, some of the best coaching. And Sean McVay won a Super Bowl. He's proven. That's a good point. Mike Evans could return. So Mike Evans is still out for Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay just has too many guys out for me. So and you're playing against a really good defense and you have your best players out. I'm going to go, like I said, so I took the Chiefs there to win that game. So, all right. Appreciate you guys for stopping by, man. A little 40-minute show. Appreciate you guys. Be on the lookout for NFL matchups that's going to drop Tuesday night, maybe Wednesday morning. I haven't decided yet, but make sure you guys check that out. It's exclusively on the Grid Network. So head over to the Grid Network YouTube channel right now and get caught up too before these games get kicked off. But that's it, man. That's all the time I got. But like I always say, this is your boy, Ryan Flowers, a.k.a. Clutch Sports Talk. Like I always say, never settle till the work is done. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.